The unexpected connection ***. In the bustling streets of Manhattan stood a cozy yet elegant boutique hotel called the Rosewood Haven. Among its dedicated staff was a woman named Clara, a 40-year-old housekeeper with a heart full of dreams, but a life weighed down by responsibilities. Clara had spent 2 decades working tirelessly at the hotel, ensuring its guests experienced the luxury and warmth the establishment was known for. With her auburn hair pulled back in a bun and a quiet elegance about her, Clara often went unnoticed among the city's vibrant personalities. She had resigned herself to a routine existence, her dreams of romance and adventure tucked away in the corners of her mind. One sunny afternoon, the hotel welcomed a new intern, 20-year-old Leo. Fresh out of culinary school, Leo had come to work under the hotel's celebrated chef, hoping to hone his skills and make a name for himself. With his bright blue eyes, messy blonde hair, and infectious enthusiasm, he quickly became a favorite among the staff. Clara first met Leo in the staff lounge, where he was struggling to balance a tray of delicate pastries. She watched, amused, as the young man nearly toppled over before rushing to his rescue. "Careful there," Clara said, steadying the tray. Leo looked up and smiled, his cheeks flushed. "Thanks. Guess I'm still getting the hang of this." From that moment, a friendship blossomed. Leo, with his youthful charm, brought a refreshing energy to Clara's otherwise predictable days. He often sought her out during breaks, sharing stories about his culinary experiments and dreams of opening his own restaurant. Clara found herself drawn to his passion and sincerity. Despite their age difference, Leo treated her as an equal, valuing her wisdom and enjoying her dry wit. Their conversations grew deeper, touching on topics like love, loss, and the pursuit of happiness. One evening, after the hotel's restaurant had closed, Leo asked Clara to stay for a special dinner he had prepared. Nervously, he led her to a table set in the hotel garden, illuminated by fairy lights and candles. "What's all this?" Clara asked, her heart fluttering. "I wanted to thank you," Leo said, pulling out a chair for her. "For always being there, for listening, and for reminding me that life is about more than just chasing success." As they dined, Clara felt a warmth she hadn't experienced in years. Leo's gestures, though simple, carried an intimacy that made her feel cherished. Over the weeks, their bond deepened. Clara found herself looking forward to Leo's presence, her days brightened by his laughter and thoughtful gestures. Yet, doubts crept into her mind. Society would never approve of their connection, and she worried about the implications of their age gap. One evening, as they sat by the hotel's rooftop pool, Leo sensed her unease. "Clara," he began, his voice gentle yet firm, "I know what you're thinking. That us doesn't make sense. But I don't care what the world thinks. You've shown me what it means to truly connect with someone. Age is just a number when the heart knows what it wants." Tears welled in Clara's eyes. "Leo, you're young. You have your whole life ahead of you. I don't want to hold you back." "You're not holding me back," he replied, taking her hands in his. "You're giving me a reason to move forward." For the first time in years, Clara allowed herself to embrace happiness without fear. Their love, though unconventional, was built on mutual respect and understanding. Together, they navigated the challenges that came their way, proving that love knows no boundaries. And in the heart of the Rosewood Haven, their story became a testament to the power of unexpected connections. Let me know if you'd like any changes or additions. Continuation of The Unexpected Connection. Clara and Leo's newfound relationship became their shared secret, tucked away within the walls of the Rosewood Haven. They continued their lives as usual in public, but every stolen moment, be it a shared glance in the hallway, a whispered joke in the staff kitchen, or a midnight stroll through the quiet hotel garden, strengthened their bond. However, the world beyond their little sanctuary wasn't as kind. One afternoon, while Clara was folding linen in the staff room, a colleague named Martha approached her, an air of suspicion in her voice. "Clara," Martha began, lowering her voice, "you've been spending a lot of time with that new intern, haven't you?" Clara froze, her hands clutching a sheet. "We're friends, Martha. That's all." Martha raised an eyebrow. Well, you might want to be careful. People talk. Clara nodded, brushing off the comment, but inside, fear gnawed at her. She knew their relationship would invite judgment, especially with the hotel's strict policies about staff conduct. That evening, as she met Leo in their usual spot by the rooftop pool, she voiced her concerns. "Leo, people are starting to notice," she said, her voice trembling. "I can't risk losing my job. This hotel is my livelihood." Leo frowned but didn't let go of her hand. "Then let's be careful. But Clara, I'm not giving up on us. We'll find a way to make this work." Days turned into weeks, and despite their precautions, whispers about Clara and Leo began to spread. The hotel manager, Mr. Whitaker, eventually called Clara into his office. "I've heard some concerning rumors," he began, his tone cold. "I need to remind you of the hotel's code of conduct. Any unprofessional relationships will not be tolerated." Clara felt a lump in her throat but managed to nod. "Understood, sir." When she told Leo about the warning, he was furious. "This isn't fair," he said, pacing back and forth. "We're not hurting anyone." Clara placed a hand on his arm, calming him. "Leo, life isn't fair. We have to be smart about this." Determined to protect their relationship, Leo came up with a plan. He began applying for jobs at other restaurants, hoping to establish himself elsewhere. His goal was to free them from the confines of the hotel's rules. After weeks of effort, Leo finally received an offer from a renowned restaurant in San Francisco. Overjoyed, he rushed to tell Clara. "This is it," he said, his eyes shining. "Come with me, Clara. Let's start fresh, away from all this." Clara hesitated. Leaving the Rosewood Haven meant leaving the only life she had known for 2 decades. It also meant stepping into the unknown, a terrifying prospect. But when she looked into Leo's eyes, she saw hope, love, and a future she had long thought impossible. "Yes," she whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. "I'll go with you." Together, they planned their departure, keeping it a secret until the day arrived. On a crisp morning, as the sun painted the city in golden hues, they walked out of the Rosewood Haven hand in hand, ready to begin a new chapter. In San Francisco, their life wasn't without challenges. Clara struggled to adapt to the fast-paced city, and Leo worked long hours to prove himself in his new role. But every evening, when they sat down together for dinner in their small apartment, they were reminded of why they had chosen this path. Years later, Leo achieved his dream of opening his own restaurant, Clara's Table, named in honor of the woman who had changed his life. Clara, now his partner in both life and business, found herself rediscovering her passions, managing the restaurant and mentoring young staff. Their love story became the soul of the restaurant, drawing patrons not just for its exquisite food but for the warmth and authenticity that filled the space. And so, Clara and Leo proved that love, no matter how unconventional, could thrive against all odds when nurtured with patience, courage, and unwavering commitment. Would you like to explore any specific moments in more detail? The unexpected connection, romantic details. The connection between Clara and Leo grew stronger with every passing day. Their romance wasn't one of grand gestures, but rather a tapestry woven with shared moments of tenderness, vulnerability, and deep affection. One rainy evening, as Clara finished her shift at the hotel, Leo appeared at the entrance holding a large umbrella. "Waiting for someone?" she teased, pulling her coat tighter against the drizzle. "I am," he said with a playful grin. "You?" He led her to a nearby cafe, where they shared a cozy corner table. The rain tapped gently against the windows as they sipped hot chocolate, their conversations flowing effortlessly. Leo leaned forward, his gaze locking with Clara's. "You know," he began softly, "I've never met anyone like you. You're so grounded, so real. You make everything else feel insignificant." Clara's cheeks warmed under his gaze. "Leo, you're too kind. I'm just an ordinary woman trying to get by." "You're extraordinary," he said firmly, reaching across the table to take her hand. That night, as they walked back under the umbrella, Leo stopped suddenly. The streetlights cast a golden glow around them as he turned to face her. "Clara," he whispered, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I think I'm falling for you." Clara's heart raced. She hadn't felt this way in years, if ever. Unable to speak, she simply nodded, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. Leo leaned in, his lips brushing hers in a kiss that was tender yet charged with emotion. From that moment, their romance deepened. A secret getaway. One weekend, Leo planned a surprise for Clara. He booked a small, charming cabin in the countryside, nestled by a tranquil lake. When he told Clara about the getaway, she hesitated, worried about leaving the familiarity of her routine. "Trust me," Leo said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "You need this. We need this." As they arrived at the cabin, Clara was struck by its beauty. The air was crisp, the lake mirrored the sky, and the cabin itself exuded warmth with its rustic charm. That evening, Leo prepared a special dinner in the cabin's small kitchen. Clara watched as he moved around with effortless grace, slicing vegetables and stirring sauces. "You really are talented," she said, leaning against the counter. "And you," he replied, glancing at her with a smirk, "are distracting me." After dinner, they sat by the fireplace, wrapped in a soft blanket. The flames cast flickering shadows across the room, and Leo pulled Clara closer, resting her head on his shoulder. "You deserve so much more than this," he murmured, his fingers gently tracing circles on her hand. "I have everything I need right here," Clara replied, her voice filled with emotion. Leo tilted her chin up, his eyes searching hers before he kissed her deeply. The world outside faded away, leaving only the sound of their breathing and the crackling fire. A moonlit dance. On another evening back at the hotel, Leo surprised Clara with a romantic gesture that took her breath away. After her shift, he led her to the rooftop, where fairy lights twinkled like stars and soft music played from a small speaker. "What's all this?" Clara asked, her voice catching. "I wanted to give you something special," Leo said, offering his hand. "Dance with me?" Clara hesitated. "Leo, I haven't danced in years." "Then let me remind you how," he said with a gentle smile. They swayed under the moonlight, their bodies moving in perfect harmony. Leo held her close, his hands firm yet tender on her waist. Clara felt years of worry and self-doubt melt away as she let herself be carried by the music and Leo's unwavering presence. "You're beautiful," he whispered into her ear. "I wish you could see yourself the way I see you." Clara smiled, her heart full. "You make me feel like I can be." As the song ended, Leo dipped her, his lips capturing hers in a kiss that left them both breathless. Intimacy and trust. One night, after weeks of stolen moments and growing closeness, Clara opened up to Leo about her fears. They were in her modest apartment, sharing a bottle of wine after dinner. "I don't know how this will work," Clara admitted, her voice trembling. "What if we're just too different? What if I'm not enough for you?" Leo took her face in his hands, his gaze unwavering. "Clara, you're more than enough. You've given me a kind of love and understanding I didn't know existed. I'm not going anywhere." He leaned in, their foreheads touching as he whispered, "Let me prove it to you." That night, their connection deepened. As they lay together, their bodies entwined and their breaths synchronized, Clara felt a peace she hadn't known in years. Leo's touch was tender, his every action filled with care and reverence. In the quiet hours of the night, Leo traced his fingers along Clara's arm, whispering sweet nothings that made her feel alive, cherished and loved. Their romance was a journey of discovery, not just of each other, but of themselves. Clara found the courage to embrace love again, and Leo discovered a depth of emotion he had never experienced before. Together, they built a love that defied expectations, proving that true connection transcends age, circumstance, and convention. Would you like to add more specific romantic scenes or refine the story further?